Hey guys, welcome back to the Way channel. My name is Kane and I'm here with...
Senor.
And I'm Jesse, but today we are joined by a very special guest, and that is...
Hi, I'm Clary. I'm a cognitive behavioural therapist with the NHS, and I also work for Kintsugi Hope.
Wow.
Awesome, so good to have you today.
It's great to be here.
We are speaking on the topic of depression. So would you want to give us a quick definition of what depression means?
Well, I think when we're starting to talk about depression, actually we need to be clear, are we talking about the mood, like I'm feeling depressed, I feel down, or are we talking about the illness, clinical depression, when someone's in an extended period which is affecting not only their mood but also their behaviours and their thoughts and really all of life?
I think we were talking about this kind of off camera, but like, especially on social media, we're in a world where everybody wants to put a label on something, or everybody's seeking to have a clarity over a feeling or something that they may be going through, which means that people might be misusing certain words or labels, or maybe even intensifying things that might not be what they call it to be.
I feel like the world is so filled with information that it's hard to find the truth. Do you know what I mean? And there's so many myths and there's so many misconceptions in the world. Like we were talking briefly before this started off camera about myths around depression. Some of them were like almost laughable.
Yeah, so what kind of stuff have you heard about depression, or have you heard myths about it? Or
Well, there's one, we were talking off camera about, obviously, with women, that women struggle more than guys do, than men do.
Yeah, well, you were talking a minute ago, Clary, about how women are more likely to talk about it openly and come to people, but that doesn't mean that they're more likely to suffer. It just means it's more labelled and seen.
Right.
Yeah,
When actually, it's a really sad fact, but the most suicides happen but for middle-aged men.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy, isn't it?
So, and I think there's often a big misconception that talking about emotions, talking about your feelings is like a girly thing to do, and women are really good at doing it with their girl mates, and blokes don't talk about stuff like that. And actually in services we see that. We'll see more women come through the doors, we'll see more women come for help, but it doesn't mean that more women need help, it just means that they're first to turn up and ask for it. It is starting to change, I've got to say that. I think we are now starting to see more men actually being able to say, yeah, actually I need a bit of support, I need a bit of help. Yes, statistically men are more likely to die from suicide, but women are more likely to self-harm. And that's something that we, see a lot.
And I think also, like, we live in a world that teaches you to suppress, right? And I think culturally for men, they're supposed to be the ones that just get on with the job, the breadwinners, like take care of their families or whatnot. And so it gets to the point where you suppress, to the point where you hear myths like, oh, you're not depressed, like you're just having a bad day, or like, oh, you're not depressed, like, or what you're going through is not really that deep. But then in a way you're downplaying people's emotions, people's experiences, to the point where they might actually be struggling with something, but they've been told to almost nullify it.
I don't think it's just men. I think there's a lot of pressure on all of us to look happy. All of us are under this pressure to be living our best lives, to be happy, to be successful, to be showing the best thing and showing this facade almost of like everything going really well. And then when things aren't going really well, that can cause us to really question ourselves. Like, well, why am I sad? Why am I down? Why am I not coping? And that can then lead to almost that other level where we're starting to label, is this depression? Is this sadness? Is this normal? Or actually, because I'm not happy, is there something really wrong with me?
I think, because we were talking about before about social media, is what I'm going through depression, or is it because I'm just looking at everybody else's highlight reel and I'm like just feeling a bit of insecurity in myself that I'm not living the best life? My
question, with clinical depression, is it clinical because it's constant, or is it clinical because it comes in seasons?
That is a really good question. One thing that I think really helps me understand it is the idea of mental health continuum. So if you think about mental health, like we can all have good mental health all the way down to really bad mental health. And good mental health is you're flourishing and you're doing really well and you are winning at life and you've got relationships and things are great. And then all the way down to just you're not coping at all. And we're all somewhere on that scale, and we go up and down that scale all the time, and we go up and down that scale in reaction to stuff that's happening in our life. Like COVID made loads of us feel worse about our mental health. Of course it did. It was a pandemic and it was a lockdown and it was horrible. Winter can make us feel bad. Summer can make us feel good. We'll go up and down that. But that's kind of a different scale to the mental illness scale. And if I think of mental illness as going from left to right, and on one side you'll have kind of people with a really severe mental illness, like really difficult stuff like bipolar or schizophrenia, potentially lifelong, potentially medication, all the way through the other diagnoses into things like anxiety and depression, and then right at one end to not having any diagnosis at all. Again, over a lifetime, you're going to go along this scale. 3/4 of people will actually never have a diagnosable mental illness in their life. A quarter of us will. Doesn't mean you're always going to have it. You might go into it, you might come out of it. But it doesn't matter where you are on that scale of whether you've got a diagnosable mental illness, something like clinical depression or not, you can still have good mental health and bad mental health. You can still improve your mental health, and your mental health can still get worse. There is a disorder called seasonal affective disorder, which is where somebody has clinical depression and it does have a seasonal element to it.
We started off talking about myths. One of the biggest misconceptions, which causes arguably one of the most problems, is depression is weakness.
No, I do not think depression means like you're weak. I think just depression, kind of what you said, it can happen to anybody, you know, throughout, if you're young or you're old, it can happen to anybody. So I think, no, it's not weakness.
Also agree, I don't think it's a weakness. But kind of touching on what you were saying, I know somebody like really, really close to me that's gone through like really, really low depressive episodes, and like to watch even like the self-care like kind of slip, like from an outsider's perspective, but from a friend perspective, it's like you want to be there for that friend, but like you were saying with like the thoughts and then the behavior and then this and that, it's kind of like a cycle. Like once you're in that pattern of thinking, it's like, I want to save my friend, I want to help you, but at the same time, like there's only so much I can do as well. So like, I don't know if you have any, I guess it's kind of turned into a question, but what can we do to kind of help somebody without like overbearing and making somebody feel like, oh, all eyes are on me?
I think that, I mean, the first thing is to look after yourself, because actually having a friend with depression or having a family member with depression is really hard. Like it really hurts. And like I said, our impulse is we want to fix it, we want to make everything better, and we want to do everything we can to make it better. And actually, we have to recognise we can't. We're just human too. And we break and we struggle. The second thing would be encourage them as much as you can to go get professional help. If you can see that happening to someone else, like even if it's the point of you're saying, do you know what, I'll come in the car with you to your GP. The GP won't mind if you turn up and you're strong-arming them into the... that's fine if you need to go with them. But it's that encouragement. And again, you can't make them. If they're absolutely refusing, that is heartbreaking, but you can't make them. But you can encourage. And then the third thing I think is kind of offering, but not taking it personally when they say no. So keeping those doors open, saying, do you want to come out? Do you want me to come over? Offer. And they might say no, but when they say no, it's not because they don't like you, and it's not because you're doing the wrong thing, it's because of their depression.
That's great.
And if you can hold that door open for them so that when they get through it, they've still got friendships to come back to, and they've still got a social group to join back in with, that is going to be so meaningful and so powerful.
And so for somebody at home, what are some helpful tips that literally people that are watching this video right now, they're seeing us talking about this, that they can literally like take home and start to apply it into their everyday life?
Okay, so 3 things. First thing is, if you are worried that you've got clinical depression, just go ask. Go to your GP, find some help and ask, because until you ask, you're not going to know. The second thing is gratitude, and actually gratitude is really amazing because it's so simple, but it's been shown to have really positive effects on our well-being. So again, when we talk about that mental health scale, what can you do to improve your mental health? There's been studies that have shown that if every night you write down 3 things you're grateful for a period of 6 weeks, 6 months later, that is still having a positive impact on your happiness levels. Cool. So just being grateful, 3 things every single day that you are grateful for. Wow. Start that diary, keep that journal. It really does change your happiness levels long term, which is amazing. And then the third thing is we have what's called the 5 steps to good mental health. It's a bit like, you'd eat 5 fruit and veg for your physical health. It's the equivalent to that. So just 5 things you can do. And I always remember the acronym MAGIC, because that's the one that sticks in my head. So the M is for mindful. Being mindful is just about being here now. Often when we're depressed, we're actually somewhere in the past inside our head. And when we're anxious, we're somewhere in the future inside our head. But spending a moment just saying, I'm here now. Being present of the now. A is for active. Just getting some exercise. And I don't mean you have to go down the gym. I mean literally going out for a walk. Yeah? Move your body. Be active.
Kane goes to the gym.
You can go to the gym. Go to the gym's great. If you can't go to the gym, doesn't matter. G is for giving. Actually, when we look outside of ourselves and we give to other people, that improves our own mood. So
that's really interesting.
it can be volunteering for a charity at one end. It could be, holding the door open or getting a coffee for your mate. It doesn't have to be big, but a little thing that you're doing for somebody else.
Fascinating.
Eyes interested. Do something you're interested in. Have a hobby. Listen to a podcast on a really interesting subject, by the way. Just do something that you find interesting, that you enjoy, and see as being connected. Just connecting with other people, and whether that is the person at the shop when you buy your coffee and you just look them in the eyes and you say thank you, or whether it's having a good half an hour chat with your mate, connecting with other people. So those 5 things, they're like daily 5 things. If you can do those 5 every day, that will boost your own mental health.
It's funny how
really cool.
Kind of simple and laid out it is. Yeah. The giving one was a bit surprising for me. Was it surprising for you too?
Definitely, yeah.
I've not really thought about that before.
Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you're somebody that's really honestly struggling with what we talked about today, we've prepared some links down below with some charities and some helpful sites that you can go and see and that could help you. But we want to say thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks Clary as well.
Thanks for having me. It's been really great.
It's been amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you soon.